Maro Nandena He Maro Nandena He.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing awesome out there in this amazing world, so dynamic and extraordinary, I would call it. Today, I'm interviewing my friend Erin, and we're talking about our dietas with Bobinsana, this beautiful plant from the Amazon that we both recently dieted in. She's in Montana, and I'm here in California. And we really get into what it's like to spend time with the spirit of a plant. We talk about the difficulties, the challenges, the beautiful openings, the dreams. We talk about so many things in this conversation as we both dance with the spirit of Bobinsana. Sit back, relax, enjoy this great conversation with Erin. Hello, hello. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, Derek. So great to see you.
Hi. Just want to start with great blessings to Bobinsana for being a plant of such joy and beauty and gratitude and for bringing us together today. So thank you so much to that beautiful spirit.
Yes, thank you,
And
Bobby.
yeah, Bowie. So happy to just get to know you better, really, and to spend some time with you. And just so everyone knows that Erin and I have sat a few times in beautiful ceremony together, and I had the privilege to be at a ceremony where she closed her dieta with Bobinsana, and that's what we're going to talk about mainly today. And just so much gratitude for you and for the plant and for both of us saying yes to her. And
Yeah, I agree. Saying this, the saying yes, that's such a key piece. Yeah, it's so beautiful to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go back to the beginning.
Mm,
um, Maybe what we could do is start the the call or this podcast with what was the call you had? How did she come into your field? How did you know it was a yes? Was it explain the whole process? It'd be amazing.
sure. Yeah. So, dietas were new to me when I got the call. I'd heard the word, and I'd heard some folks talking about dieting with some plants. And I was actually we were together at ceremony, and a woman there had her dieta closing with Bobinsana. And we were given the nudge to sit up and watch the close and to witness her. And I did. And the energies dancing together, the music, I mean, it was just such a beautiful, I felt that energy. I felt her there in the room with us, even though I really knew nothing about her. She was new to
Mm,
me at the time. But witnessing that closing was my call. I was like, I don't even really know what that was, but that's what I need. That's the plant ally I need in my life. I'm ready to show up with her and for her in, that sacred remembrance is what it really feels like. It doesn't even feel like we were just meeting. It was like, oh, here you are, here we are, great. So
amazing.
that was my inspiration, my call to Bopin Sada.
So beautiful. And maybe we should just say a little bit about what a dieta is for people that don't know in this on this particular path of medicine. Some traditions, the ones that Erin and I were involved with, the teacher that gave us the the actual dietas, or held the dietas for us, you could say. She comes from the Shipibo lineage, and the Shipibo lineage works very closely with the plants, like all of the lineages do. But the Shipibos have a particular way of doing these dietas where they shepherd people into a deep relationship with the plants. And traditionally, the dietas are done in the jungle in isolation, but also for all of us that are living in the real world, there are some teachers that have brought that tradition to us so we can then be at home and be in our own environments and still have developed this relationship with a plant, but also live our lives and continue to do the things that we need to do in the real world. And so I'm just so grateful that these exist. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
having
yeah,
access and having that guidance and that support and being held in such a loving way. I mean, I don't know that I even have the words to describe how meaningful that was and is for me still.
absolutely. And just one of the I tried a Bobinsana diet on my well, I did do a Bobinsana diet on my own last year. And I was like, I can do it. I'm like Mr. Independent Spirit. I'm like, I don't need anybody to hold a diet for me. I'll just develop the relationship. And I did it, and it was great. And I did learn some things, but it was nothing compared to having a teacher open the diet and close the diet, and then hold the space, talk through the dreams, talk through uh, different aspects of the plant. For me, that was so powerful and so special, and I just would love to hear what your opinion is on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the depth to which Bomansana led me and is still, even though I've closed my dieta, there's still that, obviously, that strong connection, and I'm still learning some things, lots of things. And so, without that guidance and support, it would have been, I think maybe, I don't want to say scary because that's not quite the right word, but I really uncovered some things that are profound and some like pretty deep traumas, and then of course, like what is possible on the other side of trauma, like what feeling is like, what not living in a disassociated state is like, really. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, and so to go that alone, I don't know that I would have experienced the depth that I did, and I don't know that I would have been able to really navigate that with as much grace and with as much like, oh, okay, I'm still safe. This is still what I want to do.
Yeah, because you ended up extending yours, right? Quite a bit. You
Yeah.
just kept
So
going for it.
hilariously, I have this adorable approach to healing or trying new things where I'm like, I mean, how bad can it be? And not that this was bad at all. And I did not really fully comprehend the depth and the like what I would experience. And so I was really committed to having an opening and closing it ceremony, though. And so that was where I curated my time frame around, was like, okay, this is my opening, and then the closing won't be for 11 weeks, and so that makes sense to me. And our guide was like, wow, that's a really long time. Are you sure you want to go 11 weeks? And again, adorably, I'm like, sure, no problem, I'm committed to the opening and closing, like that's what I want to do. And she was like, okay, maybe just sleep on it. Again, like, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but there was something in me that knew it would take that amount of time. Like, in addition to wanting to open and close at ceremony, there was some part of me that's like, I want to I want to create depth here and reverence, and I wanted to give myself time to fully dive in and experience that.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. You need time, and it takes what it takes, right?
Yep.
And you don't really know. Like, I just extended my Noya. I'm in a Noya Rao diet now. I just
Yeah.
extended it, and I felt it was last week was supposed to be the last week, and I was like, not quite done yet. We
Yeah.
got some more things to cook in here. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I know the feeling for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a lovingly held space. I
Mm.
remember maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, and I was having a pretty rough time, just with the depth of what was being uncovered. And our guide reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I'm really feeling you right now. How are things going?"
Mm,
Like, completely unprompted. I didn't reach out to her. She knew, because she's holding that space so beautifully and so sacredly. I was just like, whoa, okay. Not that I questioned that it was real, but I was like, this is real. Like, there is a connection here. There is, like, we are divinely intertwined now. She is feeling that I'm, having some trouble, and reach
mm,
out to me. So it was just so beautiful to be held in that way.
beautiful. So going back to, okay, let's talk about Bobby a little bit. So Bobby's like what the cool kids say for Bobinsana. So Bobinsana, how would you describe her? Like, just give some, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So I remember when I was first considering the dieta, and I was like, let's do a little research. So I went on the Google and was like, tell me about Bobinsana, and read things like sweet and heart opening, and, like love, basically, like will connect and, like facilitate and enhance love, self and otherwise. And was like, whoa, okay. I mean, who doesn't want more of that? Right. And so I
Right.
was like, yes, that, I knew it. And then my experience, love is so many things. I think the idea that I had with it, that it would be like really like tender and soft and like maybe even easy, if I'm being honest. Um, but it was ferocious. The love that I received was absolutely ferocious. And I was like, oh, love, like the ferocity, like it makes me want to cry, because like the
Mm,
ferocity of love, like, yes, it's sweet, yes, it's tender and can be soft. But the protective nature, and just that, like I've got you. I mean, I don't even know if I have the words for it, but yeah, the ferocity of love, that, the way that she showed up for me with that, I just, um it felt so similar to this part of me, or this thing that I've been looking for, in terms of, trust. And again, just like so protective, so, um like unwaveringly kind, and also like I got this sense that she was not going to let me like get away with things, or avoid the hard stuff like I've been doing in the past. And it was really just this opening that she provided for me, of being like, hey, it's time. Like, you showed up for this. Like, you asked, came to me for these very things. Like, I've got you, you got you. Like, let's see what's going on. Let's see what this is all about. Let's experience how, like, the depth of love, and all of the emotions that come along in a loving space.
oh my goodness, it's so true. So the first thing I would say about dietas, it's going to change your life in one way or another, and probably in a big way. Like, big things are going to shift in these dietas, and you're like, you know what, I'm just drinking a plant, and what do you mean it's, and they're not even psychedelic, right? These are all plants from the Amazon, or in my case, Noya Rao's a tree, or they're trees and plants, and they don't have a psychedelic component, but they are as powerful
Yeah.
as what we experience in ceremony with other plants. And it's because there's a spirit that is attached to the plant. So every plant has a spirit. And that spirit is actually, as we develop a relationship with it, it's helping us, it's informing us, it's being fierce with us. It's calling us on our stuff. It's like, no, you can't do that anymore.
Yep.
And oh man, I feel you so much when you say that. And I'm so glad you did, because I had the same idea. I did the same reading you did, because I did a Bobinsana right before Erin did. And I was like, rainbows and butterflies, who doesn't want that? And I'm just going to walk around feeling all this love in my heart, you know? And
Yep.
Bobby's like, well, before we get to that place, we got some
Yep.
work to do.
Yep. She's like, all of that. And there's all of these other things that you're going to want to know about that will also like inform the rainbows and butterflies, right? Like
Yeah.
that depth. I was in a, let's call it precarious living situation.
Nice.
And, the end story is that it wasn't where I was meant to be. And I was having all of these issues with my landlord and just, being threatened to be evicted, all of these things. And when I was talking with our guide, she said, that makes so much sense because of all of the plants, Bobby's roots are the deepest. When there's a storm that comes through, she survives because of the depth of her roots. And so, of course, if your housing is unstable, if your roots aren't deep enough, of course that's going to happen now. She is offering you this insight and this opportunity to go somewhere where you can create and like build deeper roots, grow deeper roots somewhere that you're meant to be. And it was uncomfortable to say the least. And I'm out of that situation now and am just so grateful, even though it was very challenging, for her love, her ferocity, her, like you said, she's like, all right, like, let's get to the core of what's going on so that you can experience love in these other forms. But there's some stuff that needs to be uncovered and like gotten rid of, basically. Like it needs to go. Yeah.
Do you mind talking a little bit about what some of those things were, or?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
So
because I'm
it
sure
actually,
we all carry whatever you're going
yeah,
to talk about. We all have carried at some point in our lives, if
yes,
not right now. So,
of course, yeah. And it actually started really early on the diet. I was noticing this tendency to be really self-critical. Like something would come up, and then I would, criticize my response to something or how I had acted, or and so just like in this like cycle, like this spin of thoughts of like having a response and then criticizing the response and then then noticing I was being critical and being critical of that, like it's just how many circles can I do around the same lap. And so one of the first things that really remains one of the most powerful things is her showing me the way that you respond to yourself needs to shift, babe. Like, let's try compassion or even like curiosity. That the criticalness, like let's soften the edges. And so that was such a key piece for me, and that it happened early on is really helpful because I was like, oh, this changes my entire worldview. Actually, if I'm responding to myself with compassion and curiosity and grace, what a different way to move through the world. And noticed pretty immediately that the way that I was responding to others then shifted as well, right? And I'm not going to say I'm completely done with the criticalness. It still comes in at times. But I do have just like that nudge from her of being like, remember, there's a different way to do this. There's a way that feels better. And so, yeah, there was the dreams, Derek, holy
oh my
moly.
goodness, give me your favorite one, if you
My
remember it,
favorite one.
or
Well,
your most powerful one, or yeah.
okay. Yeah. I had a dream. I don't know if I need to do a trigger warning. Possibly. So, trigger warning, sexual assault.
Okay.
I had a dream, again, early on, that stayed with me for like the full day afterwards. And the overview is basically that in the dream, I was sexually assaulted by multiple people. And I do have that trauma in my past. And so I don't know if I would call that my favorite dream, because it was really, I mean, the impact on me, like I said, the next full day, I was just like, oh, I don't know. Like it brought up so many memories and so much pain from the past that I wasn't quite sure how to metabolize that. And so, I did a fair amount of journaling. And I will say, as a side note, even now, or maybe especially now, when I'm in a moment of feeling dysregulated, I turn on the Bobinsana song and immediately am like, oh, here I am. Here we are. She's here with me. I'm back in my body. And so the day after that dream, or nightmare, I mean, I'm not sure how you want to describe it, but yeah, I just journaled and played the Serenita Bobinsana song over and over, and was just like, oh, the thing I forgot to mention, this is important. That night when I was sitting with her in meditation before the dream, I said, please show me what is like what's preventing me from knowing my worth. Like what's holding me back here? Like what are the barriers that are preventing me from like moving forward and moving through my life with grace and compassion and love, self and otherwise. And that was the night I had that dream. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, I mean, I did ask, and so that's another piece I think that is worth touching on in that I find the plants to be so willing to respond. When we ask, they're like, great, you're ready. Here's what you need to know. Um, So yeah, I sat with that, just the memories of that dream that full next day, and did some processing, did some journaling. And then I spoke with our guide. I was just like, wow, I did ask and here's how she responded. And, um, I'm still kind of working through what that means. And it feels more accessible than it's ever felt. And I've spent, years in therapy, and not to negate therapy at all. I love it. And also, I've worked on that particular trauma for a very long time. And the experience that I had in that dream from Bobinsana, it was like it landed so viscerally. I think I've been approaching my trauma from my head, and she dropped it into my body and into my heart and was like, okay, thank you for asking. Here it is. Here's what you need to look at. And I
So
felt
beautiful.
resourced to do that. I felt like, oh, I have this support and the love and this beautiful ally, such that I can look at this without fear and without like that disassociation I mentioned.
So powerful. I love that so much. And it's just our biggest lessons come through our deepest traumas, I feel, when we're ready to face them. And I just want to share my Bobinsana dream in the very beginning of my diet. There was a piece of furniture in the dream, like a big dresser. And I knew I had to push the dresser aside. And so I like took a lot of effort and I pushed the dresser aside. And underneath was a big hole. And within that hole was another hole with these roots coming out of it.
Whoa.
And then I woke up from the dream. And I was lucky enough that next weekend, a few days later, to have a ceremony on Mother's Day, by the way, which is important to the. And I asked Bobinsana in the ceremony, I said, please give me clarity around that dream. And also in the dream, around the hole was all this gunk, like dirt and grease, and it was dirty. It was just dirty. And I remember thinking in the dream when I pushed aside, is wow, it's so dirty under here. And essentially what she showed me and what she told me was that my heart was in that hole and there were roots coming out, but I had to get in there and pull my heart out of the hole. And the only way I could do that is clean the gunk that was on the outside of the actual hole.
Wow.
And I subsequently, in another ceremony, did that by going into some deep grief around my mother, which you know a little bit about, and was one of the deepest healings I've ever received.
Wow.
And the beauty to know also that once you diet a plant, she's also there with you in ceremony and is now your ally. I mean, our guide talks about getting a little crown and a cape and, all these beautiful things. Um, And it's really true, right? She is then there with us all the time once we diet her and develop that relationship. And so, yeah, I just applaud you going into those really hard places, because it takes so much courage and takes so much strength that these plants really help us uh, fortify, in the journey.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. I appreciate that. It does. It is a commitment, a level of commitment that I don't know I've ever done in the past. This dieta for me was is the most profound commitment I think I've made, and to know that she's still with me, available to me. I talk to her all the time, just
Mm.
as like a friend, like good morning, thank you. Um, but yeah, they're really. I'm trying to remember if it was in ceremony or maybe when I was talking to our guide, but essentially there was mention of the humility, like showing up with humility and reverence, and then allowing to be shown, um, the truths that you're asking for, even the hard truths. And so I really each day would recommit and say, I'm here for the tough stuff. I'm here for all of it. I'm ready, and felt like I mentioned resource, but really felt like such connection and such deep support. Again, that ferocity of just being like, I know, I heard her. I know you can do this. Like, I'm here with you. We can do this together, but I believe so strongly in you and so fully in your ability to do this. And that voice inside my head, or that voice inside my heart, was like, oh, it's safe. Like, I'm safe to check these things out and to go deeper. So, yeah. Whew.
Beautiful. And maybe tell our listeners a little bit about what it means to be on a dieta. Like, what did you exclude? What did you do less of? Just so
Mm.
people get a kind of a feeling for, you're not just like, so basically in a dieta, we're usually ingesting the plant in some form, either leaves or bark or flowers, or through a tincture, for example. So that's one component, but it's a small component. So maybe you just talk a little bit about like what it was like for you and what the framework was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started in ceremony, and so the diet for ceremony, similarly in terms of abstaining from caffeine and red meat and dairy. Not remembering everything right now, but basically the idea of like
Alcohol. Yeah.
alcohol, yeah,
Yeah.
stimulants, cannabis,
Stimulants.
sexual intimacy,
Yeah.
violence. So like watching violence, or listening to violent podcasts. Oh, that's a piece that I really want to mention real quick, is the podcasts. Because I love to learn and I love to fill my brain with new information. And part of it's like a loneliness thing, right? If I'm by myself, I like to have a podcast in my ear. And No Shade Towards Podcast, obviously. And one of the things that our guide mentioned when I was first starting is you're going to like silence is really the access point here, sitting in silence. And so um, that was one of the more challenging things for me to give up, is that constant noise in my head. And I think I mentioned this in ceremony, our last ceremony, but silence meant danger for me growing up. And so I really came to recognize at the beginning of my dieta, like, oh, I'm afraid of silence. Like, that does not equal peace for me. And so I had some really profound insight and healing around even just that, of being like, oh, even just taking the time to spend with her is a gesture of healing for me, and really like reclaiming what silence and peace can mean. But yeah, so every morning for half an hour to an hour, sitting in meditation with her, drinking the tea, um, dancing, singing,
Hmm.
really just this most reverent expression of love and humility, of being available to that plant spirit. And Sometimes throughout the day, I would do like bathing with her. So having
Mhm.
made her into a sun tea and then like putting some on my shoulders or on my hair. Um, One time I did a foot bath with her that was really beautiful. And so really just engaging with the plant, like, specifically in the morning and in the evening for those hours or half an hour of meditation. And again, like singing can be meditation, dancing can be meditation. Um, and then throughout the day, um, for me, through the song and through just like holding her in my heart and in my, like my conscious of being like, this is where I'm at. This is a place that I'm choosing to be. And so making myself more available to her. And instead of turning to, like I was saying, the podcasts or the ways that I numb out or check out or just, try to go offline, um, in each of those moments, coming back and recognizing like, oh, I made a choice. I made a commitment here. I'm here for my healing. She is here with me. And so that was a really, supportive way to make the transition from waking up and immediately turning on a podcast to waking up and acclimating to being in silence. And then, towards the end, preferring it and just being like, oh, this is what people talk about when they say like peace and, the less noise, like how comforting that can be versus when I started it being extremely unsettling.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I always think about the way we start our day as an anchor for the rest of our day. And I always start mine with prayer and some yoga and meditation. And if I, for some reason, if I miss, one of those modalities, my day's totally different,
Hmm.
has a totally different rhythm, has a different texture. Everyone talks about like morning rituals as being a thing, but it's really a thing.
Yeah.
It's like it
Turns out
matters.
it
Yeah.
really does. It really does. Yeah, there were a few mornings, not many, I'm happy to say, but there were a few mornings where I didn't like do my full sit with Bobby and pray and meditate and hold her
Of
in my heart.
course.
And, by like noon, I was like, this something's off, and I knew what it was because I,
Yeah.
had made the choice or hadn't had the time or whatever. But just to have that palpable experience of like, oh, this is how I feel when we engage first thing in the morning and I start my day with Bobinsana. And this is how I feel even on like already by noon of being like, oh, this doesn't feel quite right. Like things aren't
Yeah.
going as well as they could, or, feeling as peaceful. So yeah, it does
Yeah.
make a
And
difference.
I think we all have those moments during Dieta, where we're not in the middle of a jungle, without, it's like we have all these temptations around us and, we're leading somewhat of our normal lives. And yeah, we are going to fall down sometimes. And that's when we get to practice compassion and forgiveness for ourselves and be like,
Yep.
it's okay. I've been doing so well with my diet. And then one of my teachers came and she never comes to Ojai, and we had a beautiful hike and then we went for lunch and she got this piece of cake and I haven't had sugar, I'm not doing sugar in the dieta. And she goes, just have a little piece, I was like, oh, so I took a little like tiny corner of it was a flan cake. And I swear as soon as I put it in my mouth, I heard Noira go, not good. Like that is not good. I do not like that. And then
Yeah.
I had this sugar high from such a small piece, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But then I was like, "Okay, time to forgive myself. It's okay."
Yeah. And really, what a blessing to be held so lovingly accountable, right? Because
Yeah.
you do get that sense of the plant being like, nope, that's not part of the agreement. That's, like the sugar, the alcohol, and but for me it's such a recalibration to be held with love in response to me making an error or a decision that
Mm,
isn't in alignment versus the like finger wagging, like how dare you, how could you, like I never felt judgment, I never felt any sense of condemnation, only love and only like that accountability of like, I mean, that's not it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I could feel, like it was like an old grandmother going,
Yep.
oh, you know what? You got to try a little bit harder than that. I still love you, but
Right. Right. Like, oh, sweetie, you know
yeah,
better.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So you were going through your diet. You had some dreams. You're shedding parts of yourself. Yeah, and then did the relationship as it deepened, did it change? Did your dreams change? Did the lessons become a little different, like different flavors? Yeah, what was that
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. It did. Thanks for asking. Initially they were very trauma based, right? Around the dream that I mentioned, and really like a lot of things that have happened to me in the past. Not exactly, but I with our guide, I was able to like draw some through lines to things that were going on. And so initially the dreams were really disturbing, I guess, or just like brought up a lot of the stuff that I was looking to heal, honestly. Again, I did ask. And so, and then they began to soften, I guess is a good word choice, in terms of there was still the lessons there, but it became less about what had happened to me and more about here's how to shift, here's how you can pivot, this is what you can do differently going forward to take care of yourself, to protect yourself, to learn to trust yourself. And so, yeah, the dreams shifted to being more like more supportive, more um, inspiring, and I would even dare say motivating, in terms of being like, look what's available. Like, and so waking up with the feeling of like, oh, possibility, and like, oh, this is within me. I can do this, as opposed to like, this happened to me and I'm, like more of a, like a victim, like why? And, like the questioning that I've gotten into, it pivoted to being like, oh, I'm fully capable. I have the support, I have the love, and um, resourcing myself, recognizing that it's within me. I had this one dream about a crocodile. It was my dog's stuffed toy that turned into a real crocodile. And I kept going back into this room where the crocodile was at, and I'd have to wrestle her. Um, and it was interesting because she was never actually trying to kill me. Like I knew that she wasn't trying to like actually attack me, but she had to defend her territory, right? And so I kept going into the space where she was, and then we'd wrestle. I'd win, and then go back out. But I kept revisiting this same thing, and so I mean, there's so many lessons that I can take from that. Um, but
Like what?
one of
Tell me. Tell me
well,
the lessons.
yeah, I mean, one of them is like, how many times do you keep going to the source of pain, right? Like, how many times do you keep revisiting this same thing and expecting a different outcome? Like, that crocodile is going to wrestle you every time you go into the same room. So, like, maybe choose a different room. Maybe you don't need to go into the basement anymore. Um,
Mm. I love that. That's really
yeah,
powerful.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, and then another piece of that dream was also, recognition of power, honestly, of being like, wow, I keep wrestling this crocodile and keep winning. And like, it could kill me if it wanted to, but here I am, like
Mm.
continuing to overpower this creature that for all intents and purposes could take me out. And, I don't know. I feel like there's some sense of that empowerment piece of being like, wow, I have that within me. Like the tenacity to keep going back is also there.
Yeah.
But the fortitude to win and to like show up and say, here's this issue, here's this thing I would like to overcome, and to continue doing so. That was really powerful for me to experience as well.
Amazing. Do you ever call like animal spirit guides in ceremony?
Yes, yes. And I have a great story to tell you about my closing
Okay.
with
I
animal
was thinking
spirit.
you should call him the crocodile if you ever feel like
Ooh,
you need to get power. Yeah, that came to me. Yeah.
yeah. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
mean, it came to your dream. You had power. I mean, it's there for you, right?
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Oh,
Yeah.
how beautiful. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, yay. It's just, that sense of being held by the plants, recognizing that nature is working with us and for us and wants us to live beautiful lives that have that reverence and that respect and, holding their sacredness. And also something that was said in ceremony, our last ceremony together, about like, they love us so much. I mean, they love us and want us to be happy and to live these beautiful lives. And
Yeah.
that is so tender to me, to know that we have that support available to us always. It's just so beautiful.
I love that. So you're going to say something about your protector animal guide, and I cut you off. Oh,
So in my closing,
yeah.
Oh,
Maybe you want to say a little bit about what a closing is for people. Yeah.
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 So there is I don't know, would you call it a song? It feels like an incantation almost.
Incantation, yeah.
Yeah. So a song specific to Bobinsana that is sung to whoever is closing their dieta. And you mentioned the crown. And so getting the crown, there's a sense, I might be forgetting some of it because I was in such a like beautiful space. Yes, truly. And the cape. And so there's a sense of protectiveness of, and also of like the converging of your spirit with the plant ally. And like, okay, and you've been working together and you've devoted to her. And so now there's this convergence of your energy. She is with you always, which is what you mentioned. So there's a beautiful song that gets sung to you. And, I don't know what your experience is like, but when I'm being sung to, it's the most heart opening. And I mean, it's just such a profound experience. Am I missing anything about the closing?
I don't think so. Yeah, just that there's a certain moment, and it's so a few days before the closing, we're starting to ingest less or none at all of both. So she's slowly moving out of ourselves, and then our teacher, the guide, she comes over and she does this incantation or spell or song to it's more of a celebration, right? It's like a celebration, yes. And it's a closing in the moment that the dieta is over. And but
thanks for saying the celebration piece, because that is, and our guide did mention that it's a celebration, it's a joyous moment. And then when she started singing to me, I was like, oh, just tears of joy and connection and just feeling so held and so loved. And it really was, and then getting to sing the Serenita
Bobinsana. Yeah.
Getting to sing with, our guides, and really in that such celebratory joyousness of just, it just was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. And that says a lot, being that I've been on this dieta and had so many profound insights and just feel this ferocity of love still. But that closing, so the protectors, sorry, I just get caught up. I get goosebumps.
No, it's okay. When I think about Say whatever you want.
It's so beautiful. And so I had this sense, we sang together, and I just cried and cried and cried, and just tears of joy and also of just maybe accomplishment of being like, wow, like I really followed through on this. Like, really, I don't know if pride's the right word, but really being like, wow, that was an intense commitment, so I had all these emotions coming up. But the sense I got when the singing finished was this just very clear download of, I'm never alone. Like, oh, and I'd felt that throughout the dieta, like, oh, I have this ally and she's here with me and supporting me. But at the closing, that landed so viscerally in my body. I was just like, oh, I'm never alone. Like, I don't know how else to say it except like, holy smokes. Like, I have all the support and love that I need. It's always here. ever have to worry again about not having access to that. And then our guide was telling me about a vision that she got of serpents, um, one on each shoulder, one on each of my shoulders, who live there now as my protectors. And I am so moved and touched by that. It's just such a loving feeling to know, almost as if it's like wings. I have these serpents as, you know, ready to strike, ready to defend, ready to protect in every moment. And
Ready to love.
yes, yes,
Angel
yes,
wings of serpents.
yes.
Well, I could tell you when you hugged me after ceremonies, I could feel the serpents coming around. And
Whoa.
yeah.
Oh, that hug, Derek, the whole thing is so beautiful. Just that vibratory, like, woo, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel inept sometimes when describing ceremony and my dieta because I'm like, what is the word that embodies such this a huge feeling of love and connection and um, allyship? Like, I don't know if
I
the
call
words
it
even
magic.
exist. Okay,
Magic is
great.
that's the closest I can get to it. Magic.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you felt that. That's so incredible.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm imagining a tattoo, a serpent tattoo. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, reptiles are big, right? Because then the crocodile too. You
Yeah.
got some heavy hitters with you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the representation of, like kind of not crusty, but like crunchy on the outside and like the soft underbelly, like
Yeah.
that feels pretty resonant for me. And not that I'm super crunchy, but, but that protectiveness of
Yeah.
being like, like discerning about who gets in past that protective layer.
Absolutely. And I've been taking this course with Josh from the
Mm,
Emerald podcast. I don't know if you've ever
hmm.
listened to it.
I have. It's so beautiful.
And one thing that I love he talks about is our hearts. And we live in a world where everyone's saying open your heart, be love and light. And he's like, well, yes and no. Actually, your heart space, you have to discern around your heart. And there are moments when you need to actually, you put up boundaries, really strict boundaries around your heart. And yes, you let people in, but there are some people that you don't let in, and some situations you don't let your heart get close to. And so I just love that in this world where everyone is speaking about, just be love, just be light. Well, actually, no, this is like there's a lot of difficulty in the world, and there's a lot of harmful energies, and we have to discern that, and we have to actually guard our hearts as much as we open our hearts. So I
Yes.
love that, you're finding that with the snakes. And yeah, and it sounds like this was one of the big lessons for you, like how to be to guard our hearts in a healthy way, but also open our hearts so that we can then have access to love within ourselves and from others. Because I think we sat 3 times together, maybe
Hmm.
three.
Yep.
And I remember you from the first ceremony, and you felt a little close to me,
Hmm.
and this last ceremony, I like almost didn't I told you, I think, didn't recognize you. You were like, he's so open and loving and just amazing. I mean, I love
Mm.
seeing that journey too with people, but I
Yeah.
just want to congratulate you on all that beautiful work. And I'm sure
Mm.
the Dieta had a big part of that, played a big part.
It really did. Yeah. Thank you for witnessing me and my evolution from being more closed. And I appreciate what you said about the discernment, because I think I was toggling back and forth between being closed to everyone because it just felt too scary and like, what if they're not safe and I've been hurt in the past, this, that, and the other. And then being like, and then switching and being like, oh, I'll just be open to everyone, and then getting hurt again and then being like, okay, that's not it either. So in my process with ceremony, and especially with my dieta, it really is an understanding of like self-trust, like not betraying myself by like not being discerning, essentially, right? By thinking, oh, like other people have pain and it's okay if they hurt me because they're in pain. And so like working through this real evolution of my path of being like, I deserve love. And if that only comes from me, that's okay. Um, and then recognizing like when I give myself more love and compassion and understanding, I'm more available to receive it from the people that have good intentions and are showing up with open heart and connection. And it really has been a journey for me in ceremony. I really do feel like a completely different person in terms of what I'm available for. And that's because you all hold such a beautiful space. That's such a big piece of it is, feeling safe to express and to have those moments of, tears or whatever's going on, and to go from in my past of feeling judged for that to now being in a space where it's not, I've said this, not just tolerated, but accepted and welcomed, is such a healing experience. And so thank you for creating that. It's a really big piece of that.
You're so welcome. And you did all the work. I just was there and opened my heart to you. So yeah, it's just so amazing. And I think we enter these spaces and it's so easy to drop into our trauma programming, and then to see the world through those eyes. And I'm interested, and I'm still in this myself, is like, what is it like to live from a space in which everything is spontaneously new? And that also means me, right? That also, I am also new. I I don't need to access that program any longer. I can actually rediscover or discover for the first time who I am.
Yep.
Like that for me has been a huge part of this process. And I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, you know, the one question that has been with me for long is like, what do I want in life? Like, I can't answer that question. Like, what do I want? What I really want in my soul, in my heart. And I haven't been able to answer that question. And it's funny because I think I said this in the last ceremony in our share circles, that I have asked Aya over and over and over again, like, what is my future? What is, show it to me. And she always says, be in your heart, drop into your heart, follow your heart, listen to your heart. She's like, she don't do anything else. She's like, right there, baby, just do it, right there. And it's so true, it's so true. And it's like the simplest and the most profound lesson at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. And to go from a space of thinking everything had to be rehearsed, like I would rehearse conversations, like what was I going to say in share circle and stuff, to this last ceremony of being almost excited, like, and working with Bobinsana has really helped me to trust that whatever comes up, whatever is authentic to me in that moment is exactly perfect. Like that is what is meant to be expressed. And so now I almost have like a little tinge of excitement of being like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to say.
Well, that's why you were so excited for the podcast.
Exactly. Like, let's see where this goes. And also, I had this thought of like, oh, I hope I do it right. Or I do, some of the old programming. And then I realized like, oh, all I have to tell is my story. And I have this beautiful story and this experience and this love, this allyship with this gorgeous plant who loves us so much. And so I don't even have to, like, there's nothing that I have to create or even like try to make beautiful. Like it is beautiful. So yeah, I'm really glad to be here. Thank you, Derek. I love you so much.
Yeah, I love you too. And just so, my whole intention for this podcast and my book is to obviously get people to feel, comfortable or relaxed or open to this work and this journey. And it's changed my life. It's changed my life so profoundly, and I'm sure it's changed yours.
Yes.
And it's not easy, and it takes courage, and it can be very difficult. But look, I mean, the the possibility of what lies on the other side of the healing is so beautiful
Yeah.
that I think the whole world should do it. you know
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I
yeah,
know we're not meant to like recruit people,
yeah,
and I truly believe that the experience that you have in ceremony and on dieta, like it's incomparable. Like
yeah.
I don't know where else in your life you get to access and learn and really receive that wisdom. Um, there's something else. Oh,
Tell me.
I heard it said it's the hardest work. Okay, no, I was telling a friend about it who was sat in ceremony the weekend after I did. The hardest work you'll ever do, and immediately afterwards you're like, when's the next one? Like the most profound and intense sometimes, and like the depth of healing that goes on, and then immediately you're like, ooh, like that, this is home, this is where I want to be. And not so much to be like, I'm gonna keep going to ceremony every weekend, and not that vibe so much. It's just being like, wow, I didn't even know this was available. Like, thank
Yeah,
goodness, like what a blessing for us to receive this.
it's so amazing. In my early part of my journey, I would sign up for these 3-day retreats, and I'd do the first night, and I would have this moment, during the first night of ceremony. I was like, I'm out of here in the morning. What am I doing here? This is the craziest thing. Who does this? And I'm going through this whole thing in my head. I have to tell my friend I'm not going to stay, and he's going to have to get a ride home, and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, I wake up the next morning and I'm like, let's go, baby.
Yep. Yeah.
That's why I
Exactly.
always tell anyone who signs up for a 2-night ceremony but gets kind of the heebie-jeebies the first night, stay the second night. And I'm like, if you have to tie yourself to the altar, like stay the second night, because it really is profound. And you know, I won't promise you'll have a different night than your first night, but you could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I agree with everything you said,
yeah,
because it really is just some of the hardest work I've done, honestly, in terms of healing, and the most profound, and um, you know, it's that connection, the music. I mean, I could go on and on. It's just such a beautiful way to walk through the world after ceremony, of knowing like, oh, there's so much love possible. There's so much, like, look at all these trees who just love us. Like totally seeing through the world through different eyes, of just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've missed all of the beauty that's just
mm,
around me all the time. It's a different way to move through the world.
yeah. How did you get called to the work? What was the journey like to your first sit?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I've been in therapy for quite some time, and again, nothing against therapy. I've had some really profound insight and growth in that space. And thankfully, my therapist is also connected to the work of ceremony. And so I hit kind of a point where I was like, I love you. This is great. And also, I feel like I have all of the tools at this point. Like, I don't know how to go from being triggered to using the tools. Like, I've got all the tools. Like, how do I access the tools? And he suggested, he's like, well, you know, we should talk about ceremony if that's something that you're interested in. And I was like, absolutely. And he had mentioned it a couple times previously, but I wasn't available, or I wasn't ready, or the timing was off.
Yeah,
And so at the beginning of this year, I was like, I don't know if it was depression, or I'm not sure how to describe exactly my mental state, except that I was like, this is not it. Like, if this is life, not from like a suicidal ideation place, but just being like, I don't want it. I know there's something better. Like, I know there's a different way for me to experience life. This is not it. And so that's when I connected with my therapist, and he made the suggestion for ceremony, and I sat with Amanita which was really beautiful. That was the beginning.
Mm,
And then just subsequently have signed up as often as possible for the ceremonies that we've been in.
mhm.
But yeah, really just hit a point of, I know there's more, and I'm not sure if I can think my way there. Like I've done the reading, I've done the podcast, like the material is here. Like I need it in my heart. Like I need to be
Yeah,
able to access it.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. It's got to live here, otherwise it'll live anywhere. Well, it lives up here, and then yeah. Oh, so
Yeah.
true, so true. Was there anything else you'd like to share or say?
Hmm. I just have such deep gratitude, first of all, for
Mm,
you for being here and getting a chance to talk about Bobinsana. I just love her so much. I feel love from her regularly. Like even in this moment, talking about her, I feel that.
mm,
Um, and if anyone's wondering if it's real or if it's something they'd be interested in, there's such deep connection and deep love available to you from the other people in ceremony and in space, and our plant allies love you so much. There's just
mm,
this seemingly unending availability of love and support and protection, and to know that nature has us, and is actively trying to engage with us and support us and show up for us in that way. I don't know about you, but that just feels like it feels like a warm hug. Like, oh, we are held in so many ways. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for the space and for the plants and for you.
it's so sweet, and I echo every single thing you said. And I'm
Hmm.
grateful for you and this connection. And thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And
My pleasure.
yeah, I look forward to sitting with you again soon and hearing
Yes.
about your next dieta and yeah, so many things. So do you have anything on in mind for the next dieta, or are you gonna take a little break and
Well, I'm going to take a little break. I would love to diet something around this area,
beautiful?
northwestern Montana. I would love to. So I've been out in the woods, just walking around and seeing what calls to me, listening. Um, so I had nothing's landed yet in terms of like which plant that will be, but I really feel such a strong connection to this land, to Montana. So the native plants here, and so I'm just waiting to see which one wants to work with me.
I love that. I love that so much. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. How
Yay.
long is yours? How long did you extend your diet for?
So, oh, just a week, so it'll be 1 month. It'll
Okay.
be it'll be 1 month, and then my partner's coming home. So this is why also it's been perfect because she's gone,
Mm-hmm.
and this has allowed me. I'm alone here with the cat, so the cat's getting lots of cuddles. Um, and yeah, just being alone is really special during the dieta, and
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of don't have to worry about like smelling something cooking in the kitchen, or
Yep.
the TV being on or whatever. It's like the controlled environment has been great. And she goes away quite a bit, so it's nice because I can always plan my dietas when she goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's
My
been
dog. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, that's it. Yeah.
My dog, when I would start the Serenita Bobinsana song, he would come in and lay next to me. Like sometimes he would wrap his body around me when I was sitting there in meditation. Like he would just circle me with his body, which was really cute. Um, but for the most part, like as soon as I would start the song, it would cue him and he would come in and just meditate with me, and it was the sweetest thing. And not that we don't know that our animals are connected, of course they are, but to like see that visual representation of his connection with Bobby, I was like, oh, it's just so sweet.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That reminds me, maybe I should put a little Noya Rao and Millie, that's my cat, in her
Ooh,
water. just so she can,
Yeah.
experience the
Experience the
dieta with
diet
me.
with
Yeah.
you? Oh, sweet.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, brother. I love you so much.
Love you too.
So happy you're doing this.
Yeah.
It's
I'm going to
important
stop
work.
recording, but I want to talk to you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. I really appreciate the people who tune in to these subjects in this podcast. I created it to share part of my world, and I just want you to know I have much gratitude. I would love it if you followed and subscribed to the podcast so that you could receive all the beauty that's coming your way. Take a moment and please leave a quick review. It would really help the podcast spread and would also let me connect with the people that are listening. I would love to build this community in a very mindful way. And by leaving a review, you help me understand who you are and if you like it. Wishing you a wonderful day, and I look forward to our next podcast together. Hausch, hausch.